Mr. Allard's neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, can you believe it? It's another Monday, another week. If I sound a little gravelly, it's all the dust in the air. I was watching the news and they talk about this dust from the Sahara Desert, and it's got me. But it's all right. I can still power through it. But today I have Tessa Shank and Jennifer Shank. They both work for Wings of Hope. And they're going to tell us all about what's going on with the Wings of Hope. They've been on before. Well, at least their organization's been on before. And we're going to talk about what they do. Because it's been a little while since I've seen Allison anyway. She was on last time about 6 months ago. So we're going to talk about what's been going on. Also, we have a big event on August 1st we want to promote. And it's a really good thing because, I didn't grow up around horses every day, but I did have access to them through my uncle and all this other stuff. And I don't know what it is about the horse, but the people just seem to love them, don't they?
Yes, they're very therapeutic.
Yeah, I guess so. And girls, they, hate boys, love horses. Maybe there's a connection there. I don't know. But
Horses are less trouble.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true too. But anyway, we're going to talk about what's been going on with them and whatnot. How about you, Josh? You got another big week planned?
Oh, yeah. Staying busy.
Well, it's the 4th of July on Friday, so, got big party plans or going to my sister-in-law's, and that's always fun. There's going to be fireworks shows all over the place. I'm not really into it, but my wife really likes it a lot. You like it, too. I can tell by looking in your face.
I do. I love it. And the Cleveland Chamber is doing theirs at La Moderna, the Railroaders field this year, so that should be really fun.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah. And we're also having one, I know, from the city. And you just go around all over DFW and then go off everywhere, and it's really fun. And over where my sister-in-law lives, they have one at that Bedford Boys Ranch, and it's always a big deal. But before we go on to our talking about, let's talk about big deals here, the sponsors, because they make this all possible. Thank you, Otto, at our place. Always a great place. I bet you've been there before. Which one do y'all go to, the Cleveland one or the Burleson one?
I've been to the Burleson one. I haven't been to the Cleburne one yet.
I've been to both, mostly the Burleson one, of course. And what you can expect from one, you get at the other. It's really good food, good service. It's a great place to go. Also, I don't know, did y'all come in down Main Street or come in from another direction? You saw Our Place 2, which has been open about 6 weeks now, and they're doing pretty good business, which doesn't surprise me at all. But anyway, Our Place, also Gina's Pizza, which I go there at least 2 or 3 times a month or more if I could. And it's a really good pizza place. I don't know if y'all been there. You'll do most of your shopping and dining in the Cleveland area, right?
Correct.
Well, if you're ever in Burleson and it's lunchtime, go by Gina's. It's on Renfro. It's right near the main intersection of Wilshire and Renfro, and it's really good pizza. And, Otto really caters to that good service. I mean, that's what he's known for. And so you go there, and it's a great place to go watch a ball game and have a pizza and whatnot. Also, thank you to our friends at OPro Roofing, John Williams, 817-734-2756. It's a good time to get your roof inspected. It may not rain for a little while, and this is the time to get it inspected, not when it's about to rain, because, it's maybe too late. And so you call him at 817-734-2756, and he'll come and he'll tell you what's going on with your roof. He's not going to give you some hard sell and say, oh, my Lord, how have you made it without me so far? No, he'll tell you your roof's fine, or he'll tell you if you need just some repairs, or he'll tell you it's time to call the insurance company, which he will help you with. So OPro Roofing is a good place to go for that. Also, Jeff Kelly, a realtor buddy, over at the Wethington Agency, 817-781-0546. He was on about 3 weeks ago when we were talking real estate, and, it's up and down like it is with any other business, but we're hoping the rates come down pretty soon. I'm talking to 2 or 3 other realtor friends, and they're like, it's time for the rates to come down.
It's time.
Yeah. But anyway, he can help you with real estate. He sells in Cleveland, too, and he sells all over Johnson County. It's been my observation that Cleveland's growing pretty quickly, too.
It really is.
Ms. Shank here goes,
Yes,
yes. So they're like, oh, my. Is that a good thing or not?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Lots of traffic, lots of developments coming in.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. But anyway, you can call him again at 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. We'll take care of you. And our friend Tiffany Jane, you should have your magazine this week for Local Life. Goes to 30,000 homes, including Cleburne. And it's a really good place to advertise because, like I said, it goes to all these various homes, but not just that. It's well done as well. You can get good quality production from her, so that's a good thing. So Local Life Magazine, or you can check it out at locallifetx.com. And my old buddy Al Warner, world traveler, Alric at bassprinting.com is where you can get him. That's ALRICK at Bass Printing. He does promotional items. He does, hats and cups and pins and you name it. You can stamp, like you got your shirts, you want more, go to Al. He can put Wings of Hope on anything you ever want. And he does really good work. He and John from All Pro are friends of mine from a BNI group, a networking group. And so I know them personally, and I can vouch for them personally. And so give Al a call at 817-616-8761, or like I said, at Alric at bassprinting.com. Also, I believe, no, that's a nonprofit event. It already passed. I get a little confused. They had the charity golf tournament on Friday, and I hope it went well with Jack Matson and his crew. Anyway, so let's talk about Wings of Hope. For those who are not familiar with Wings of Hope, where exactly are y'all located at?
We are located just south of Fort Worth, off of 35, 917. It's right next to those dreaded Egan Railroad tracks. If you know those.
Yeah.
If you are ever stuck at a train and you want somewhere to go, you can take a quick right, come down, visit us.
Yeah. I drove by there for years not knowing that it was y'all. I just thought it was another horse farm or something like that. So y'all been around how long now?
This is our 29th year. We were founded in 1996, so we will be celebrating 30 years next year.
30 years. Whew, that's a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so for those who are not familiar with Wings of Hope, what y'all do, you do equine therapy, okay, which basically is the use of horses to help people, in y'all's case, mostly with either emotional disabilities, maybe physical disabilities, or both. And also in certain cases PTSD. All right. Now, which do you say do y'all specialize in, so to speak?
I believe it's somewhere around 45 to 50% of our clients are on the autism spectrum in some way. And then outside of that, we have a variety. So it's the PTSD, anxiety. We have cerebral palsy, MS, multiple sclerosis. We serve a little bit of everything. Our biggest thing is that we try to meet you where you are in your walk of life and serve you in any way that we can.
Well, Jennifer, how long have you been with the program?
My journey with Wings of Hope started in 2010 as a volunteer.
As a volunteer, huh? Okay.
And then in 2013, I was hired as the volunteer coordinator. And since then, my job responsibilities and title has changed multiple times.
No, I wouldn't doubt it. Volunteer coordinator, I bet, is a juggling match. I mean,
It is because in HR, in the business world, people get paid to come in. Whereas a volunteer coordinator, you're relying on their generosity of their time to come in and serve our clients.
well, I would imagine, and this is something that most of the nonprofits I deal with have encountered, is that people want to do the right thing, and then they find out it's more of a commitment than they think it is.
Exactly.
They think, well, I didn't realize I'd be expected or asked for these many hours and 4 times a week or 3 times a week at a certain set schedule or whatever else. Your story is nothing I haven't heard many times, because I think people want to do the right thing, but they didn't realize that doing the right thing was pretty much an unpaid job, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. Well, we'll tell teenagers that they can get job experience by coming and volunteering. And it looks great on a resume.
It sure does. I guarantee it does, because when an employer looks at that and he sees this young woman or young man has worked for a nonprofit for X number of months or a year or whatever it is, it's more than just job experience. It also is an indication of what kind of person that is.
Very true.
Yeah, and I would think that if I were an employer and I see something like that, I would be very eager to hire him, because I would know that this young person, man or woman, has a bigger view of life than just being a teenager. They think of bigger things than that, and probably more loyalty to the employer.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's what you need.
Yeah.
But y'all are hiring right now, right?
We are.
Okay.
And we are actually hiring for a ranch hand, and she will be the direct manager, so I can let her talk on what exactly we're looking for that.
Okay.
So that position is a 40-hour permanent position. We are looking for somebody that can come in and help mainly with facilities, groundkeeping, and stuff like that. They will also be responsible for bringing the horses, each and every one of them, in every single day, twice a day, so that they are fed, and then put back outside.
So this ranch hand, it's is that a hard position to fill? I mean, or is there like a lot of people that have this experience? I think it would be pretty hard.
It is.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It is. And the thing with being a ranch hand, whether it's on our ranch or a ranch anywhere else, you're in the elements. So you're in the heat, you're in the cold, you're in the rain. So you have to have somebody that's willing to be dedicated to do that.
Oh, well, I don't want to overstate my experience with the agricultural end of life, but when I was a young man, I worked for my uncle's farm during the summers. I was more of a nuisance than a help, but whatever. And then as I grew up, my cousin took over the farm, and I worked with him. And so I'm pretty familiar with some of it, more than most city boys would be. And you're right about the elements. This farm is in southwest Oklahoma, and it was one of the hottest and coldest places I've ever been.
It's brutal sometimes.
Yeah. And the wind and all that other stuff. And so it's it's not for the faint of heart by any means. And he dealt with cattle, and so we had to deal with that. But occasionally, my uncle would have horses, and that's how I got some experience. But I will not consider myself eligible for that position, I could tell you right now. But how would they get a hold of you if they're interested, or somebody knows somebody that knows somebody?
They can email Allison at wingsofhopehorses.org.
Wingsofhopehorses.org, okay.
Correct. Or they can call the office, and that's 817-783-3805.
One more time.
817-783-3805.
See, people are diving for their pens and notepads right now, so we got to give them another chance for it. Yeah. Yeah, well, let's hope, because, I would imagine there's some probably old cowpokes around here that probably miss it. I mean, it's not a profession. There's a lot of, well, let's put it this way. The agricultural sector is shrinking. So I would imagine maybe there's some people that are kind of out of work right now. So let's hope. Let's hope for the best, right?
Yeah, we do get a lot of people that say that they grew up around horses, or they grew up on farms, and they miss it. And so I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity to come hang out, minus the feed bill that typily comes with it.
Oh, boy. And there's a true there. Okay, now as far as, let's go back to y'all's program. We talk about, people on the spectrum and whatnot. I would imagine y'all have had many contacts with the Center for ASD here in town.
Yes.
We do. We actually partner with the Center for ASD. We have clients that come every Monday for either mounted therapeutic riding or ground-based program.
I have Lisa Boltinghouse on the program. I'm checking the date just to make sure, because I don't want to mess it up like I'm prone to do. I have her on the 21st, and so we're talking about 3 weeks from the day. I've had her on many times, and so they do really, really good work.
They really do.
And they got stuff going on all summer too. And part of that, I believe, is dealing with y'all. I mean, I think they have like camps and stuff like that all summer long, and I know they come out on a routine basis, and that's a great thing. It really is. So let's say that I'm listening to the show, and I know somebody has a child or an adult, right?
Correct.
In this situation, he's on the spectrum or has some other disability, whatever else. Take me through the process of how they would connect with you and what y'all would do for them. And do you have like a program that you put them through, or not put them through? That's a better way of putting it. But offer them, as opposed to like, get on the horse and we'll see you later. I'm quite sure there's some very prescribed type of activities. So walk me through that whole process.
So it just starts with them filling out a simple application, and there are time periods where we do have a wait list, just dependent on if we have enough volunteers or horses or instructors for that time. But once they are off of the wait list, they will come in and they have what we call an evaluation, a rider evaluation. And so they sit down with one of our instructors. It's usually Allison, our executive director.
And Allison has some background in this. It isn't like she's some layman. She has some credentials for this.
Yes.
And she has also been with the organization for 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so she is a registered CTRI, so certified therapeutic riding instructor, and that just really gives a lot of tools to combine the horsemanship with the challenges that come with working with people with disabilities, again, whether they're physical, mental, or emotional. And so with that certification and her 20 years of experience, she has gathered lots of tools, and she's able to meet with these people, and we give them a tour of our facility so you can kind of get a feel of what it's like to be there. Does it feel, right in your soul? Does it feel like this is where you're meant to be? And then she just has a discussion with them. What are your goals? What are the challenges you're facing? Because we all wake up every day with our own challenge.
That's true there.
Whatever that is for the day. And she talks to them about where they're trying to get, what goals they're trying to achieve. And then through that, she helps determine whether they would be a match for the ground-based program or the mounted program.
Right, and I'm familiar with the fact you have riders and then you also have walkers, I guess. And I remember talking to, I think it was Teresa, that, sometimes what they need is just to be around the horse, take care of the horse, feed the horse a little bit, pet the horse. And that's very therapeutic.
Very much so. I mean, I like to explain it to people as sometimes people are just not confident enough to speak to other people. If a classic counselor or therapist, maybe they don't have the confidence to go sit in that room and vocalize what they're going through to another person, but it's easier to come and hang out with their horse and vocalize those issues, those concerns to their horse. And they might not get an answer from it, but it's just kind of a relief to get that off your chest, and you're not carrying it, you're not alone. And they really build a bond with these horses, and so then it gives them something to look forward to. While no, they may not be coming to ride the horse, they are coming to hang out with what becomes one of their best friends.
Right. I've been told horses have distinct personalities.
They really do.
And some are like more gentle than others. Some are a bit more, I don't want to say aggressive because it sounds wrong, but a little bit more assertive maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
But, what I've been described, and Lisa described this as well one time she's on the show, we were talking about equine therapy, and it's like a lot of these autistic children, like you were talking about, don't really have the ability to communicate with humans, but somehow they seem to connect with horses.
They do.
Mostly horses, and other animals too, but mostly horses. And it seems like horses are unique like that.
Very unique.
Yeah.
They actually mimic our respirations. So they know how we feel and essentially what we're thinking just from our presence, the vibe that we bring. If you're high energy, you're high strung, and you're all over the place, the horse is going to feel that. And if you're really calm and collected, the horse is going to feel that too. And they'll kind of meet you where you're at.
Yeah, my uncle and cousin told me the same thing when I was a kid. He said, if you get up there and start panicking, the horse will too.
Yes.
And he also taught me, always get on the left side. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but that was just a thing. Yeah.
It's a thing because it goes way back to the knights, and your sword was on your left side. So you mount from the left side, so you are not hitting your sword your sword's not hitting your horse. We actually mount from both sides.
Okay.
And we train our horses that way. And one of the things that we'll train our clients or teach our clients and our volunteers to do is to take a deep breath for themselves and let it out for their horse. And if you work with a horse and the horse seems to start getting a little higher in energy, we will teach the volunteers to do that. And if they do that big breath and release a couple times, the horse will actually sigh with them.
Good grief. They read your mind, don't they?
They
read
really do.
energy like you wouldn't believe.
Well, and also, I go back to the types of therapy. I was struck by the walker program more than just the riding program, because everybody assumes, you go to a horse therapy session like this, you're going to be riding horses, but some of the kids are more attuned, I guess, just to do the walking therapy, walk around with them, and I don't know, give them whatever feed they got and whatnot. Carrots, I guess. You still do that?
We do.
Okay.
We do. It teaches them responsibility.
Oh, that's a good picture. Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah.
That is Chocolate. He has been with us for
16 years. He came when he was 5 years old.
Towards the end, I'm going to ask you where you get the horses, but so this young man here has some sort of issue, I guess, disability, And, but he probably takes somewhat of an ownership type of feeling towards these horses, I would imagine.
For that hour that they're with that horse, it is their horse.
And we really try to stress that to the volunteers as well. Before and after the lesson, they have all this time that they want to love on the horse, groom the horse, tack the horse. But during that 1 hour, we really try to let that horse be one with the rider, to build that bond, that partnership. And like she was saying, it helps them build responsibility when they're coming weekly and maybe not riding just on the ground-based program. They know that they're coming in and this horse needs groomed, and maybe they've been dirty all week and waiting for them, or they know that their horse is going to be waiting for them to take them out to walk them in the round pen and things like that. And especially when they're working with them in the round pen, they really learn how to communicate with their horse. Again, it's not always verbally; it's a lot of body language and your energy, and it gives them a lot of empowerment to see, there's this big 1,200-pound animal, and I know how to communicate with it, and I know how to listen to them. They know how to listen to me, and I know how to ask them for things, and they will do it because, again, I show up every week, and I've built that bond with that horse.
Do these horses recognize these young people that they're dealing with? I mean, it's like, sorry, I don't want to call them pets because they're not that, but do these horses, do they form their own attachments to some of these people that use them?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There is one at the barn. His name is Gus. I don't know if we sent any pictures of him, but he loves Jennifer.
Oh, yeah.
That is his mom. So if she is out in the arena and, he's with a rider, or he's maybe like in schooling with another staff member and he hears her, he will try to beeline to her. So
why is that?
So when he came, that's Doc.
Okay.
When he came, he was donated to us, and he hadn't been ridden much in the prior year. So to get him ready for the program, I spent 2 to 3 months riding him every single day. And he was like, "Oh, I get you," and that's just the bond that we share. And that doesn't mean nobody else can ride him. He is a good therapy partner. He's done really well. And you were talking about the personalities that the horses have. We actually will partner the clients with the horses based on the horse's personality and the client's needs. So not every horse would be partnered with, say, this client right here who has autism, has a lot of anxiety. We would put a horse that's not quite as sensitive with that client.
And y'all have determined this in the horses. That's
Yes.
interesting. I mean, it's like you have psychological profiles on all your horses.
We do.
They really do. Yeah.
So if a young person comes in, or with his parent, I'd imagine, or an older person, whatever, and they come in and you'd say, okay, this is what we see in you. So these 3 or 4 horses really are not good for you, but these 3 or 4 over here. How many horses do you have, by the way?
Right now we have 18 of them.
18. Okay. So
3 of them are still in training. They're brand new. They've only been with us less than 2 months. So we've got 15 that are tried and true. That one happens to be Lark.
She has been with us for 16 years, 16 or 15. She's 16. We got her when she was 6. She's 22 now. She's really good with teaching independence because she knows what she wants. She knows the cues that she's supposed to be looking for. So if you do not give her the correct cues, she's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." But as soon as you do give her the correct cues, she will perfectly go along and do exactly what you're asking.
give us an example of a correct cue.
Like reining. So you use your reins for direction or to stop them.
Right.
Well, if you're not using your rein to try to turn her correctly, she's just going to stand still. Or maybe if you're pulling your reins too much, but you're asking her to walk, pulling your reins back means stop. And she's like, "Oh, you're asking me to walk, but you're pulling on my reins. So I'm going to stand still." And then you let go of those, and she's like, "And now I'll go."
You're acting like these horses understand English.
I swear sometimes they do.
So they do understand what walk-on is.
Okay.
And we usually will cue our clients to stop by saying, "and whoa." And there's some of these horses where you start saying and they'll stop for
Lark
you.
specifically.
That's
She
interesting.
hears the and she's like, "Oh, we're about to stop." And she does.
Good heavens.
They're
They're smarter than we are.
They're smarter than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're too smart for their own good.
Yeah.
There is that.
Well, so person comes in, Normally, do they have a guardian with them? Yeah, I would imagine in most cases they would, wouldn't they?
I mean, unless it's an adult.
Well, but so you have adults that walk in and say, "I need therapy." I mean, that's
Yes.
interesting. And they think horses are going to be the answer for it. Ah, look at that with the teddy bear. What's is that some sort of therapeutic aid of some sort?
So that is one of the tools or toys that they use. So one of our instructors, Annie, is super creative. And just a couple weeks ago, she printed out this sign that just said hospital, stuck it on one of the barrels. And one of the activities was that they had to go rescue the baby and take it to the hospital. And that helps, one, they're following directions. And so they were given these multiple steps. So you're going to, find the baby in the arena, get your horse to go there, pick it up, take it to the hospital. And so that's helping them follow directions. It's helping with their coordination. So they're having to rein and control their horse while also picking up and holding the baby. And this is just one example of the activities that our instructors work really hard to come up with so that it's never boring and it's not you're coming in every week and doing the exact same thing and the same activities every day. They really try to keep it interesting and make it fun for the riders while also helping them to achieve the goals.
You know, I'm kind of circling back to, say, a more independent adult coming in and saying, I need horse therapy. I wonder what put that in that person's mind, I guess. Maybe listen to the podcast. Let's hope. You know?
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, I guess, most people, adults, when they think they need therapy, they think, psycho counseling, or something like that, or psychotherapy of some sort, or, going to, various counselors of various kinds. I don't know if I would have thought horse therapy first thing if I were looking for therapy of some sort. So that's an interesting alternative.
Yes. A lot of our exposure comes from word of mouth, but also we get a lot of adults who come in and, as we age, we get new challenges that we are facing. And they're like, I grew up with horses. I used to ride my whole life. And now I have these X, Y, and Z that I am dealing with. And I know that a horse can help me. And so we are able to reintroduce horses to their life, give them that happiness that they had while also overcoming those challenges and helping them cope with them.
We're talking about a lot of your clients being younger, but do you have a lot that are, adults? Do you have those that are in, say, like in stages of Alzheimer's or dementia?
Yes.
Yes.
Because my dad's going through that now, and he grew up on a farm, but he didn't grow up around horses. But still, the point is that I just wonder if you have people like maybe a little older than me even, and I'm getting old, that think, okay, they want to return back to the things they did when they were, children or high school or whatever, or early in their life. And this is a way of therapy that way.
Yeah, definitely. And it can definitely, with Alzheimer's and dementia, kind of take them back to maybe what they remember a little bit more or just trigger those happier times, those happier memories.
Right. I would think it's really good dealing with depression and melancholy or whatever it's called. But
absolutely,
dealing with depression, I know it's very therapeutic to just go for a ride. Now, you talk about you have a pin for us, walking around or whatever else. Do you have like a trail or anything like that for like clients that just want to go out and be in the countryside a little bit more?
Yeah, so we are situated on just around 20 acres, and we do have a trail that goes out through our back largest pasture, goes all the way back to the back. There's a tank back there. We've got some like obstacles and some things set up back there. So whenever the weather permits, because it is Texas and it tends to be unpredictable, but when it does allow, when it allows us, we do take them out on those trails so that it is a bit more of, your typical horseback riding.
Do you let them go on their own, or are they always accompanied by somebody?
That is based on their abilities, and that's another thing that we assess during their evaluation. Everyone starts with a leader just so their instructor can kind of measure their ability and how confident they are on the back of the horse, and having the leader just gives the instructor some time to ensure that they have the basic fundamentals of horsemanship. And then independence is a big goal that a lot of our riders work towards.
Well, I think one thing I want to stress is that, a lot of people know Wings of Hope think of it as therapy for young people with disabilities, mental, emotional, whatever. But it sounds like also that a 70-year-old man could come in and say, I'm lonely, I want to ride my horse like I did when I was 15.
Absolutely.
And that's his type of therapy.
If he
And-
has a diagnosis, yes.
Oh,
And
okay. That's a good question. It isn't just some guy walking in saying, I don't feel very good today. I want to ride a horse. You have a process.
we do have a process.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the application, there is a form that needs to be completed
Mm-hmm.
by a licensed healthcare professional. That could be their family doctor, their psychiatrist, it could
Mm-hmm.
be their physical therapist. Once that is completed, then they go about with the rest of it. But everybody that's served through our weekly riding lessons is required to have a diagnosis.
Okay.
Right now, our clientele is about 50-50 adults to children.
Well, I'm just thinking it's, again, because Wings of Hope, I think, is most associated with young people. But it's just thinking like a 70-year-old man who's, a widower or something like that. He needs to know from a doctor saying this will be good for him. It's, help with his depression or whatever else. Mm-hmm. And he'd be eligible, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
How about that? That's a good thing we learned today, because it's not that the other shows didn't really stress that, but we were talking mostly about like children on the spectrum, children with cerebral palsy,
Yeah.
children with PTSD, which I'd like to jump into now too, because we think of PTSD as something that is associated with war veterans and police and all that, and there is another organization that deals with that. And y'all deal with it too, but you're primarily you're primarily more for those with these disabilities we've talked about.
Yeah, we have had experience with, like, I personally, as a volunteer, I was a volunteer for about 12 years before I became a staff member. And I worked alongside a young girl who had experienced a lot of bullying in school. And so she had a lot of social anxiety.
Yeah.
She was just kind of afraid of people, didn't think the world was a very nice place. And
Right.
so I worked with her every single week. We built a really good relationship, and now she's actually enrolled in college, and
Well,
she's doing very well.
That's great. I want to mention, I don't have to call them competitors, but another outfit, Frontline Equine, does mostly for like police and war veterans and whatever else. And y'all do that too, but y'all really, it sounds like y'all's focus is more on civilians, I suppose you want to put it that way. And so, as far as children with PTSD, a lot of people, again, associate it with, wartime trauma or something along those lines. But as a school teacher, I saw plenty of cases of trauma, stuff going on at home, stuff bullying at school, like you mentioned, and that's worse than you might think. I mean, it was social media added to the mix. It makes it even worse.
Very much
Yes,
so.
it did.
And so, so I'm sure you get some kids that are like 12, 13 years old that are just shell-shocked, as I used to call it. And this is a good way of trying to help them operate through that.
Yeah, we really just try to be a safe space to anyone and everyone. And even our volunteers, they come to us because they want to give back, but they also get something from it. Wings of Hope and just being at the barn in general is really just a safe space, and everybody that's there is just wonderful people, and they are there to be your advocate, be on your side, and the same with the horses.
You sent us some headshots. Let's take a look at those. Josh, you got those lined up? Of course you do. He's got them always lined up.
Let's see, there's one in there that
yeah.
she absolutely hates and does not know that I sent.
Oh, how nice. Okay, thank you. And see, these are very nice pictures. You said Greg Wood did these pictures. For those who don't know, Greg Wood is the husband of Jennifer Wood, who's been on this show numerous times. Okay. Yes. That's a nice picture.
Thank you. That is Sherlock, and not that I have favorites. I love all of our horses.
Yeah,
but
right. Okay.
I have a special place in my heart for Sherlock. He is so sweet.
He is also one of our busiest working horses in the barn.
Our friend Aaron Ash over in Cleveland says, my dad has Alzheimer's, and he's 72 years old, and he doesn't remember anything. Well, my dad is 87 or soon be, and he's in a similar position. He's had this condition for about 4 years, but my dad's much too physically frail to use this because he has cancer as well. But Aaron, this sounds like maybe something your dad could relate to. Because when my dad was a bit more healthy physically, he still can't remember anything you just told him. But if you want to talk about something happened to him and he's like in the Army or something like that, he'd tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's is a very hard disease.
It's brutal on families. Everybody has to deal with it. My mother, poor mom, has to deal with it, and there you are. And
Oh, matter of fact, that's Gus.
Yep.
Yeah,
that is Gus.
that's a good picture. When were these taken, by the way?
That one was taken probably 2 years ago.
And mine would have been taken in March when I hired on.
So Allison would have taken yours?
I think Sandy, our volunteer coordinator, her and I went out there and she got all the angles. She tried to copy what Greg did.
Okay.
She was using his and the
Yeah.
lighting that he had to try to mimic
Yeah.
it.
Okay, and you got any more headshots or horse shots or anything like that?
What else did you say?
There it
good
is.
Lord.
How nice. Good picture.
This is 13 years ago.
13.
So I was a volunteer. I started as a volunteer when I was 14, and we were decorating the truck and trailer for a 4th of July parade, actually. And we used to have this plastic, like, horse mannequin because back in the day, we didn't really take horses places as often as we do now. And so we had a horse mannequin that we would take places with us. So we put the mannequin on the trailer, and you see I have streamers in my hand. There's some flags behind us, and we really decked out that horse for that trailer. But
Wow.
Are y'all doing it again this year?
No, we haven't done it for a few years.
yeah.
I bet you could get on the Burleson one. Talk at the Lions Club runs ours here in Burleson.
But who doesn't?
Oh,
Yeah.
and Patsy Dumas, I think.
Patsy Dumas. If you say Patsy Dumas, you're going to have to be specific which organization you're talking about because she's involved in like 19.
All of them.
Yeah.
She's involved in all of them.
You know.
Yeah. She's actually our honorary chair this year for Roundup for Riders. And she was working to get us connected to the Lions Club. So maybe we can.
Well, she's a member of a lot of things, including
She is.
a group I'm involved with, the Burleson Opportunity Fund. And next week on Tuesday, Victoria Johnson is also a member of that organization. We're going to talk a lot about that. But Patsy's like, I don't know. Is it a real organization that Patsy's not in it? I mean,
Right. She is Mrs. Burleson.
yeah, so here you go. Yeah, and here's some more. Is this like a
Yes.
Kentucky Derby Day?
So when you spoke with Teresa and Allison, it was just before the first Kentucky Derby party that
At Southern Gem.
Gala
Yeah.
at Southern Gem
Right.
had put on to benefit us. And so this year, this picture is from the second one. It was such a success, such a good time. So this picture is myself at the end, one of our two founders, Patty Pace, her husband, Frank Pace, who serves on our board of directors as the president. Then it's Marissa Sanchez, who is also on our board, but she's also a Wings of Hope mom. So her daughter rides at Wings of Hope. She participates in our summer camps all summer long, and she also does summer sessions. So we'll be hanging out with her next week. And then one of our long-term volunteers, Kayla White. Her and I were actually introduced when we were 14 years old and volunteers at Wings of Hope, and we've been friends ever since. So.
Well, no, Gala makes a big deal out of the Kentucky Derby. It's a big party and all this other stuff, and
It was such a good night.
of course, and raise money for y'all. And it's I think it's going to become a thing in Burleson, so to speak. You know, it's going to be on people's calendars more and more as the years go by.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Also, here's a nice homely picture here, and there's Patsy. Okay.
Yes, there's Patsy. So that is some folks from our fundraising group, and we went to lunch with Patsy a couple weeks ago, and we're actually going again this week. We love just catching up with her, letting her know what's going on with the barn, what steps we've taken for our event. She's very excited for the event in August. Again, she's going to be our honorary chair. So she's bringing along some of her friends, and she's going to come hang out and party with a purpose.
Well, she has a lot of friends, and so that's a good thing. So let's talk about you got any more pictures before I start talking about the fundraising part? Or is it?
I think I think that was.
Well, one more. Okay.
Oh, this is Coco.
With a Shetland pony?
Yes, she's our smallest coworker. Aside from Mouse, our barn cat, she's our smallest horse, and so we go on field trips. Maybe not everybody can come to the barn, so we do offer field trips. And this is with actually Teresa with Elk Creek in Burleson.
Right.
And we take Coco and one of the other horses, and we spend an hour at the facility, and the residents just get to come out, love on them, brush them. It's just, again, therapeutic. It just gives them a second to kind of take a deep breath and go, oh, life's kind of okay.
It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Well, before I get into the fundraising, I would ask you, where do these horses come from?
So we get phone calls all the time for people to donate their horse, and a large portion of the time it is a 30-year-old horse that can't be ridden anymore. So that isn't something we're interested in. We are always welcome. We are always looking for donations. Of the horses that we have right now, of the 18 that I told you, we have 2 of them that were purchased. Every other one has been donated.
Why would they donate a horse? Because they can't take care of it anymore, can't afford the feed bill or what, that kind of thing?
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right,
Yeah.
and all the various reasons. And
Yep.
yeah,
Changes in life. Maybe they've, a different job, different, responsibilities. Maybe they have to move.
Right.
We do have a criteria for the horses to come. And then when somebody is donating a horse, we do take them on a trial basis. So for 90 days, we are going to ride them, and then we're going to expose them to everything that they're exposed to in a lesson to determine if we even want to keep that horse.
We need to talk about criteria. What is the criteria for accepting a horse?
So anywhere between the ages of 5 and 18, they have to be able to walk, trot, and canter, and preferably no health issues.
Okay. So I would imagine, a lot of people see y'all as a place to let their horse go to pasture, so to speak, but that's really not the purpose.
No, not at all.
No, they're not going to go just let them go and live the rest of their life, whatever long that is. That's not the issue.
No, they're actually gonna work.
Right.
We keep calling them our coworkers, and that's exactly what they are, because they work as much as we do.
Well, as far as the fundraising, let's first talk about the event. Josh, I believe you have that banner. But he's reading my mind, dadgummit.
He's on it.
Yeah, he's getting good at this. All right. I only took a few beatings, but still.
Off camera, right?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about this Roundup for Riders.
Yeah, so this is our annual event. This is where I believe it's like 45 to 50% of our operating fund typically comes from this event. So this year we're trying to make it the best one yet. This is my first one that I am really planning. So there is a mechanical bull this year. And I have told all of the staff members no dresses, because you are all getting on the bull at the end of the night.
Well, they probably wear, I'm sure, Western style clothing, right?
Yes.
Right.
Tim Davis with Alpha and Omega, he is a big supporter.
I've known him through the chamber, yes.
Yes, so he's a big supporter of Wings of Hope, and he has a table this year, and so I told him there's a mechanical bull, you have to get on it. And he said, I'm too old for that. And I told him the same thing, that I've told everyone no dresses this year. Everyone's getting on the bull. And he said that he's going to show up in a miniskirt so that he does not have to get on the bull.
That's an image we didn't need. Okay.
I said, I'm going to hold you to that.
We're going to erase that image. It's at River Ranch.
It is.
Okay, in the stockyards on August 1st at 6 p.m. Do they need to buy tickets there? Is that the QR code for the tickets I see?
Yes, you can scan that QR code, and it'll take you to the webpage for the event where you can buy tickets. You can learn all about it. You can also view our sponsorship levels there, and anybody interested in donating any items can also register donations through there. So this year we will have a raffle, a live auction, and a silent auction. So I am currently working to put items together for those. So anybody who has a business, a small business, anything that you create, experiences that you have to offer, anything like that, we are open to donations and kind of just putting everything together to make some really cool baskets.
So this is on your website, which is, again?
It's www.wingsofhopehorses.org.
Right. Wings of Horses, wingsofhopehorses.org. And go there, hit the QR code, or you probably have a link.
There is a link on the page.
Right.
Yes.
And all the various donation levels are right there.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody is not familiar with the organization and they want to donate, what do you tell them? Where does the money go? Because I know, everybody operates on a nonprofit on a shoestring, but for y'all, where does the bulk of the money go?
Caring for our herd.
Well, right, but
going into the operating fund. Now, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to give you $50, and we want that to go to just caring for the herd," then it is earmarked to just care for the herd. So it depends, and they are always more than welcome to say, "Hey, this is what I want it to go for."
I would imagine, though, feed would be the biggest thing that y'all go for in caring for the herd by far.
Yeah.
Okay, so most of your operating fund really is for just feeding the animals, which they eat a lot. So, if I wanted to say, here's $50, buy them a bag of carrots or a bunch of carrots, whatever else, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what we would do.
Yeah, I know that from talking to all these nonprofits, individual gifts or spontaneous gifts are always welcome, but you also really need consistent sponsors. because it helps you with the budgeting and whatever else.
Yes, exactly.
And they all said the same thing. And they also would tell you that, you think, well, I only have a few bucks. That's not going to make any difference. It makes a difference.
It really does.
And
Yeah.
it really does, because you think, well, I can't give $200 a month or whatever, but $20 a month, it goes a long way, and
does.
it gets multiplied.
Yeah.
I firmly believe in the fishes and loaves theory of nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, I mean, $20 to $30 a month is you paid for a horse's feet to get trimmed, or a bucket of feed for the day. I mean, it seems very small, or the bear that we saw that they use as activities, even what feels like a small donation, it makes such a big impact on our organization.
Well, that's what I would tell the great listening audience out there, the vast listening audience, is that, everybody would like to be that philanthropist that throws down, here's $50,000, but, that's not going to work for most people, of course.
Right.
But, to be part of any of these organizations, particularly y'all's, $20 a month, $15, $25, whatever else, if that's affordable in your budget, you're going a long way doing a great thing.
Yeah, you really are. And even if you don't have the $20 to $30 to give, but you have an hour and a half a week to give, your time is the most valuable thing that we could ever ask for.
What do you expect of your volunteers?
We ask for them to commit to an hour and a half a week, same day, same time each week, because we try to build that bond with their rider, their horse. We really make it a team. And so their rider will look forward to, I get to go in and I get to tell my volunteer all of the stuff that I did this week. So we ask them to commit to an hour and a half a week, same day, same time. And we ask for a 3-month minimum, just because we try not to change things up too much. Again, with our riders, we want to build that consistency, that team, so they know what to expect when they're coming in each week.
What would a volunteer do when they came in? I mean, just accompany the patient, I guess, that's our client. That's the better word. It's Monday.
Lots of terminology.
Yeah,
It is Monday.
It's Monday. Anyway, but the client, builds a bond with the volunteer as well.
Yeah,
And I would imagine
absolutely.
for a lot of these kids, particularly the PTSD victims,
Yeah.
that's an important thing.
Absolutely. They build friendships. They learn that the world is not always a scary place, and that they can trust people. So that's huge when they have that same volunteer each week, and they know this person is going to show up for me. I can trust this person, and it just helps them really change that whole outlook on life. When volunteers come to the barn, all volunteers start out as sidewalkers regardless of horse experience. We
Right.
don't require any horse experience. We'll teach you everything you need to know. So they will always start as sidewalkers, and that way they get an idea of what a lesson looks like and what their time there will look like. And so for their first couple of weeks, they're just going to be hanging out with the rider on the side, whether they need support to actually stay centered in their saddle, or if they're just walking alongside them to keep them on task and help them remember what the next step was, and helping them, reach things if they're working on some muscular type challenges. And then from there, depending on the volunteer, we have some who love to come and they love being a sidewalker and hanging out with their client and helping them. And we have some that come and they're there for the horses. They love their horses, and so they want to work towards being a leader. And so we have a checklist that they go through, and our volunteer coordinator, Sandy, actually is very thorough and walks them through and works side by side with them to make sure that they understand all of the requirements of being a leader and all of the whys. We're not just going to tell you do something that because we said to do it. We'll tell you the why behind everything. So just making sure that the volunteers understand.
I think that the volunteers also probably, in y'all's case, have a different thing they have to deal with than is the weather, because it's an outdoor thing as opposed to, an indoor nonprofit activity. So, I'm sure in the wintertime or the summertime, there's, particularly in the afternoons, it gets hot.
It gets warm. It does. Yes.
Well.
We have been very lucky, though, and our arena has wind screens, so that blocks some of the wind. And we also have a giant fan that helps. And we have what's called polar coolers in 2 corners of the arena, and it's basically like a giant AC. And the horses, with their personalities, they are very smart. They know that when they get to that corner, they can stop in front of that AC. And so then the group will just hang out there for a bit and get a little bit of a cool down, and then they'll keep going.
Okay, so I'm going to summarize some of this for the listeners to be caught at the end of our show. Go to the website, wingsofhopehorses.org. hit the QR code or the link, whichever works for y'all, and you're going to have all the various donor levels and things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
And is this your biggest fundraiser of the year?
This is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Yes, sir.
But you can also donate on a monthly basis, like we talked about, which is, again, very, very helpful for y'all and any other nonprofit we're talking about, because that's how they budget things.
Yes.
And I think that's why probably it's easier for a lot of people to give maybe $20 a month than, say, one $500 donation.
Right.
At least in my budget it is. So
It could be even $5 a month. I
Really?
mean, every little bit counts, whatever somebody can afford.
Josh, throw up the radio stuff. Okay, 88.3 The Journey, y'all are familiar with.
Yes.
And Rich Hooper is going to be promoting this show. And so he doesn't play the show, but they'll promote it, say, hey, if you want to hear about Wings of Hope, check out Mr. Allard's Neighborhood, blah, blah, and hopefully, they do so. So Rich and I have worked out a pretty good working arrangement, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him there, knowing him. He likes to make these events because, not just for his own radio station, but that's the kind of person he is, right? Also, at 6 o'clock tonight and 1 o'clock tomorrow, it'll be on the community radio, my radio station, Community Radio TX. It's on Live 365. Tune in, and I usually provide a link on the Facebook page. And so you'll have another opportunity to hear this or tell somebody to hear it on the radio station. In between, I play great music of the 60s through 80s. So, that kind of stuff, my generation. Oh, well, I tried, I looked at some of the stuff for Josh's generation, like, this ain't music. What are you talking about?
Poor Josh.
Yeah. Well, are you kidding me? These boots are older than he is. But anyway, so, you can check it out then. So there's multiple avenues for this show to be accessed. I hope it works for y'all. I usually let the guests have the last word, so y'all fill in what we need to know in a nice, pithy summary.
We're always looking for volunteers, and right now we're always looking for horses. That's the biggest thing. If you ever have a minute, you are in Cleburne, Eagan, Burleson area, you want to stop by the barn, I'm always willing to give somebody a tour, let you just come hang out, see what it is like, get a feel for the barn, and see what we can do for you.
Particularly if somebody that may be using our services.
Using the services, interested in volunteering, looking for ways to give back. I mean, anybody at all, even if you may not want to be a client and you're just looking to see how you can get involved with our community. Again, I have a lot of connections I've made through the Burleson Chamber, so I'm happy to give anybody a tour. And if we're not the right fit for you, I'll try to connect you with the correct Burleson Chamber connection for you.
And you, Jennifer?
Thank you so much for having us on here again.
It's all right. We can do this again.
Yes.
I'd like to have you remind you, the last Thursday of September, we're all going to get together at Gina's.
Yes.
With your peers. And that's a great event. It really is.
Sounds like a fun time.
It is. It's nice. It's almost like a reunion of sorts because, they're all working hard and, trying to help get their organizations, keep them moving forward and whatever else. And it's hard nonprofits keep moving forward because it does seem like, these unexpected events are hard to overcome sometimes, but they somehow manage to do it.
We do it.
Yeah, so and it's quite all right. We're going to do this again on that date, so we put that down on the schedule.
Absolutely, we'll be there.
Sounds wonderful.
It is. It's my favorite show of the year because it's not just because I get to talk about nonprofits and blah blah blah, but it's just to see y'all interact with each other and some of the supporters of the various groups interact with each other, and it's.
Yeah, we don't always get to connect as often as we want to, so that sounds like a great opportunity.
It is, and then we can do this again maybe in October, and you can tell us about how well the event went and whatnot.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay. Josh, thanks for your nimbleness on the computer boards, as always.
Anytime.
All right. Tomorrow, I'm talking to Amber Case of Harvest House. She's really made an impact in this community, not just with Harvest House. We'll be talking about all those things. So y'all tune in tomorrow. This will be on Facebook and YouTube. And like I said, Community Radio. And we'll see you tomorrow. All right. See how easy.